All right, so here we are at the end of the Confederate turn 5. As we talked about, I did some double time here at the base of Little Round Top to try to get around that flank. Probably not taking as sharp as an angle as I thought I might be taking towards big for Little Round Top, but I think if we could secure this woods, then I could organize the rest of Law's brigade and attack Little Round Top in more force. They're going to be pretty beat up for that, though, so I know that we have Benning's brigade coming in 1. I said I wasn't looking to see what was coming, but I would know who had what orders, and I thought I better kind of look and see what the Confederates get. So maybe the Alabama Laws Brigade can push up there and cause as much trouble, or I might even just swing them this way and get ready for anything that comes in the board. One thing I did notice with my Texas brigades here, I did push up. I do have one regiment that's going to do melee. The rest of them just pushed up to do some shooting in the woods. They weren't close enough to get most of my stronger guys into melee, and I didn't want to risk wrecking myself against the beat up 86th. So we're just going to shoot this turn, but they're pretty beat up, so there's a good chance a lot of those guys are going to run even more or disappear. But right here we're going to have some melee. The 3rd Arkansas is slamming into the 99th Pennsylvania, both fairly strong, full strength units. The 3rd Arkansas a little bit bigger. But we'll see if they can wreck that middle. If they can wreck that middle, the North is going to be in big trouble on that whole line on the Devil's Den. Now they do have coming in this turn the 40th New York coming in on B, but they're basically going to be nothing more than a little bit of a reinforcement to hopefully stop from being completely overrun. So we'll see what happens. So I'll do the defensive fire, offensive fire, and then I will give you an update. Thanks for watching. All right, so we're just going to cover a little bit of the shooting here, a little bit of the offense and defensive fire. So a good chunk of casualties on both sides actually for a little bit of firing. 3rd Arkansas will have to look and see if we want to continue the charge. They took a pretty good beating from those little units. But then over here, the 86th New York is just basically disintegrating. Every one of those Texas regiments rolled a 1 for the first number, and since they're all disordered, a second disorder, you lose a strength point and have to roll, and they all rolled just enough to retreat again. And because they have a disorder, it shifts, so they're just not able to hold the line at all. Artillery was ineffective for both sides, and I don't know. I'll look and see if we're going to do some melee here, and if we don't, then I'll go right to the Union movement. Otherwise, I'll let you know if there's any melee. I got to look at some stuff. I can't look at stacks, but I can look at top units. And I got to see if the 3rd Arkansas is strong enough to push. And we might push with that big stack over there against the only, there's 2 holdouts there, but yeah, not a lot. So we'll get back to you. Okay, everybody, kind of a mixed bag. Some successes and failures there, and pretty much success over here on the 1. Basically just made them run away. But the Union has run out of board there, so they're going to have some choices to make. But over here, I'd say the 3rd Arkansas got it and gave it about the same, so I don't know if I'd call that successful. And they got a couple of companies that are kind of getting isolated, broke through the line. I thought where that disordered Union guy is right here, I thought I'd be able to smack him, and I rolled crappy, and my guys ended up those 2 D's over here. These are 3rd Arkansas boys that are running away from the fights. I don't know what's going on there. They got flipped over to ineffective, and it just did not go well. So I think I'm going to do the Union move, and then I'm probably going to call it a night, because I don't know what time it is, but it's getting up there, and it's a weeknight. But I got to get these videos put together and get them put up there, because we're getting ready to get to turn 6. We're about ready to be a third of the way through this thing. This is going pretty good. Anyway, so I'm going to do the Union turn. There's a lot of disruption markers on there that really makes it interesting for the turn. You really can't do a lot. So we'll see what the Union can do, and then I'll give you an update on the Union movement, and I might call it a night at the end of Union movement. So thanks for joining me. Okay, so here we are after the Union move. basically strategically falling back, trying to stay out of range. They're starting to stack up a little bit because they're getting so weak that they're just going to get pummeled. We do have the desperately needed 40th New York. I'm going to have to look up what happens if Section A is overrun by rebels. Because I don't think these guys are going to be holding. I basically have the double time marker is the command stack for the 86th. And then those two stacks back there are trying to run. And then you got the depleted little ineffective guy. There's 15 guys there in that spot. And then you got the beat up 124th. I mean, it's getting pretty ugly. So, making some progress over here. We're going to start shaking out a column into line. And I think what I'll do is I'll probably run a line from here, kind of up around here into the Chamberlain Spur. And that'll give me a full defense. That will not give me a reserve, so I'm not 100% sure on that. I may shift these guys back into a reserve and just have a line from here to here. But there's rules about these dudes over here can't go past, I think this color right here, the 560 elevation. If they do, for each regiment that goes up here to defend this little round top. So basically you can't just bail over to little round top and give all that up. But anybody that goes past this 560 mark, I could defend up here, I guess, technically. But if you go past that, nope, I'm sorry, this is the 560. This is that? Wait a minute. No, this is the 560. So I can defend in this light brown here and this here. But if they go up any more north of that, then there's victory points given to the Confederates. So we're going to try not to do that. Basically, I'll get another brigade coming in at B or C for the north is it. And I'm going to get like another regiment coming in at A. The Confederates have Hood's staff, but that gives victory points, so I don't know if I'll need that. It's going pretty good so far as I can tell, my limited experience. And then we're going to get Benning's Georgia Brigade coming in here. And then we get a couple of Georgia Brigades that come in through these woods here at Area 3. So I don't know, it's shaking out to be kind of interesting. I did look up some historical stuff now just to see who's attacking where, and my Texas brigades are way over here where Law should be, and they swept up, it looks like, in through here when they attacked. They swept up, looks like in through here. So historically, I'm not even really in the ballpark other than the 15th Alabama and maybe the 4th, or maybe it was the 48th or something. But so these guys are in the general ballpark, but nobody else really is, which I don't care about that. I'm not trying to recreate history. I'm just trying to see what the situation would deem. I also did find, so I played with where the reinforcements, so all the Texas brigades regiments come in here, and I did see, if you wanted to play it more historically, they had some hex numbers they come in at, but I just went with where they come in and wanted to play it myself, so I didn't want to get into a whole what happened historically. So I think I'm going to maybe do the firing, because there isn't that much firing, so I'm going to do the defensive and then offensive firing, because then it's turn 6, and we can see what we're going to do there, and then I'll probably have to look up Hood's staff rules to see if I want to do those or not. And yeah, so it's starting to get kind of interesting. We'll see if this 40th New York here, if that's even, I mean, they're pretty good. I mean, their morale stinks at a C. It's not super great. It doesn't suck, but it's not great. But they are 5s and 6s, so they can go up against some of these Confederates. So at the very least, I think they're going to wear out anybody that runs into them. So we'll see what happens. It's kind of interesting how it's shaking out. So thanks, and I'll get back to you after the shooting. Okay, so welcome back. This is the end of turn 5. So we're going to be starting Confederate turn 6. I'll have to read up on Hood's staff. Not a lot happening because the woods are in the way a lot. There was some artillery over here that did nothing. And we had a little bit of exchange over here by Houck's Ridge. We had a couple units disorder and a strength loss by the 3rd Arkansas. This guy disordered was all, and this guy here disordered was all, the 2nd guy. And then this guy lost 15 men. So the other thing I noticed, okay, so like, you know, you think about how chaotic and crazy this time would have been on the battlefield. And I think some of my counting is a little bit off. I know that on the map it's right, but I'm wondering if I've forgotten to take some casualties or I've counted them twice by accident, because I've seen some where I'm like, I'm not sure that's how many casualties there are. So it might be off 1 or 2 here and there just by the chaos of playing a game. So imagine the chaos on the battlefield. That being said, unofficially right now, the Confederates have lost 525 men and 2 cannons with crew. And the Union has lost 540 men with 1 gun and 45 men captured. So, and the lost, I guess, would be killed, wounded, and missing, or, you know, stragglers, I guess. So, yeah, so that's the end of turn 5. So now we're going to start turn 6. The Confederates are trying to regroup a little bit, and we'll see what happens. There isn't any significant... Oh, here's another bonus. If you go down here, I got my backup set in, so I got rid of all the homemade counters. I got rid of... I don't have the homemade artillery anymore. I still got the gross sheet. I'm going to get that changed out eventually, because so now I have my 2nd copy there, and there's my original copy there. So I got those switched out, so I'm pretty fired up about that. And believe it or not, I mean, with all the stuff on the board, we're starting to get a little low on disorder counters. So I guess there's a few more over here too. But we'll take a look at that. And anyway, I'm going to start turn 6. I'm going to probably start to regroup a little bit with the Confederates. So there's kind of a natural lull, I think, as they continue to push. We might see a little bit of scrapping over here because we still got some pretty strong Texas brigades. This 99th Pennsylvania, unfortunately, they're not very strong counters, and they're all getting close to flipping over to the inefficient side, which means this whole Union flank will be in just a bunch of inefficient counters, which will leave the 40th New York and the artillery there to defend. And we're going to start shaking out on the hill there in case we have to help out. There's no rules about the Vincent's Brigade coming off of Little Round Top, but there is rules for helping go up on Little Round Top. So I'm starting to wonder now if they need to maybe push forward to keep... I feel like the Confederates are doing really well because there's a lot of beat up Union guys in front of them. They're a little beat up too, but they're nowhere near what the Union is. In fact, that's the Union counters lost, and there hasn't been any Confederate counters lost on the table, right? So anyway, we'll figure it out. I'll work on the turn 6, and then I'll get back to you. Thanks for watching.